All right, guys. Hello, hello, hello. I'm actually doing this live from my mobile laptop. I mean, actually, what am I saying? My mobile laptop from my iPad because my laptop is not functioning. Okay, it's not functioning. So we're going to be doing this from my mobile device. So I have no idea how well this is going to go. I'm hoping it's going to go smoothly. But yeah, no, just some interesting topics have come to bear. So, you know, before I get on to the topic that's listed as before I get to the topic that's listed on the video, I wanted to preface it with a particular concept. Let me just throw that up on screen. Let's talk about this night's court Justice League situation and whether people are allowed to have an opinion anymore. That is really the question I want to ask. Because I wasn't aware, you see, I'm an old man. I'm from the fandom of the aged. I'm not the new school, I'm the old school. I'm from back in the day when guys could say things, people could say things, and there wasn't any of this cancel nonsense that goes on where it's like somebody says something you don't like, and then everybody now gangs up to cancel them like we're in kindergarten, playground, high school. I mean, the first thing I would say to people is that when it comes to canceling, let them cancel you. Anybody wants to cancel you, let them cancel you. Who cares? See, the problem is that if you're so beholden to having an audience, so you're not actually thinking about the quality of your audience, you're just beholden to having an audience. That is when you have these problems. That's when you have these problems. If it's not that important to you, just to have an audience, but you are interested in the quality of your audience, cancellation doesn't mean anything if you stand on what you stand for. If you stand for what you stand for, then if people want to cancel you, they cancel you. That's their business. It doesn't mean anything. No flip-flopping. You understand? So when I see this situation where somebody says something and then all of a sudden they get cancelled, and in the beginning, they're like saying, oh, I'm not going to apologize. I'll never apologize. And then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, you're apologizing because you're losing things and you're losing fans and you're losing. I'm like, then you shouldn't have said it in the first place. You should actually have the foresight to think that am I willing to stand on what I'm saying? Or if you make a mistake, you would apologize immediately. Like, oh my goodness, I made a mistake. Because, you make it, you're just talking off the cuff and then you say something you shouldn't say. They call you out and you apologize. But the thing is that when you stand up and you say, oh, you know what? I'm not apologizing. That's what I said. And then a week later, you apologize. Like, nah. What happened a week later is that the bag got checked. Check the bag. And you were like, the bag is getting a little light. Bag's getting a little light. So I might have to apologize. Anyway, the point I'm making here is that what I'm hearing, and again, because I'm an old man, I've been out of the game. Because talkback predates all of these guys. Like, we were around before any of these people existed. So, I mean, and then I haven't been out. So I'm hearing all this talk that there are two factions of pro Snyder's Cut and anti Snyder's Cut people, and that people who are against the Snyder Cut, or rather, if you say anything against the Snyder's Cut, saying that either, first of all, that it didn't exist, now we know it does. Now it does anyway. It didn't exist before, but now we know it does. And or if you say you're not interested in seeing it, are you denigrated in any way? All of a sudden, you're an enemy of the state, and then guys start trolling you and attacking you and doing all of this weird, silly business. Now I want to talk about that. How ridiculous is this? Like, I'm not pro, like I've said it. I made the video before. I'm like, yeah, Snyder's, I would have loved to see a Batman movie for him to make it because of what I saw in the clips I saw in Batman v Superman, and like I said, the warehouse scene that he made is the best Batman footage that I've ever seen. I've never seen it like that's the Batman film I would love to watch. Those two scenes in the warehouse and the sex slave saving, hands down, it's the best Batman interpretation. Like it was amazing to me. So I'm real with it, with what I'm saying. Like that's just hands down. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh my goodness, like why is nobody seeing what I'm seeing and petitioning for Snides to be put up for just doing a solo Batman? He should just be doing Batman. Like I don't understand. But when it came to this whole Justice League, I'm like, the movie on its foundations doesn't work because you're building a team up movie before you've even established any of the characters. The only person in that whole team that even had a movie, the film was average, Man of Steel. So it's like, what's the basis for it? What's the basis? So I don't understand. And I don't see how people, and listen, we can talk about the details of, like, I've been talking about this for what, 12 years, 15 years, about how he doesn't really do films. Like he makes 300 and things like that. These are not things that actually have filmmaking scenes in them, with actors really performing. I mean, it's hard to describe in lay terms, but the point is, there is filmmakers like Chris Nolan who make very, very plot-driven movies that, yes, I mean, the characters themselves are pretty much stand-ins for propelling the narrative along, but the truth is that they're very well-crafted films. Whether you like the film or not, that's a whole other conversation. It's nice, he doesn't make, whether you're talking about Watchmen, Man of Steel, Sucker Punch, Batman v Superman, which film are you going to look at and you're like, oh, you know what, this was a real movie? I'm like, no, man. The best film that he's made to me is still 300. And that's because that plays to his strengths, completely. It was just, and I still say it, that film really was very effective. It really played the things that this guy is very, very good at doing. The glitz, the glam, the flash, the energy. And now we come to the point that I really want to get to, because, okay, so we have people on these separate factories, right? And Jody's Corner is, great channel. I know Jody as well, spoken to him a number of times. This guy, like I've said, he's one of the genuine fans. Like, this guy is it's not a hustle for this guy. So when I even see some videos and people talking about how the guy is hustling and he's just, what, I'm like, this guy, when I talk to this guy's one of the realest fans out there. One of the realest fans out there. So, and I think it's because he has so much passion for what he likes in fandom that he even comes across with the intensity that he does. And you're always going to rub people the wrong way when you're honest about what you like and you have a strong opinion. There are always going to be people that disagree. What social media has done now is that it's giving power to trolls to just get out there and say negative things. Or rather, not even so much saying negative things, to get out there and essentially try and impose their will on others that do not agree with their side of points of view. Or it's bullying. It's like cyberbullying. It's like somebody, you don't like what they're saying, and you say, okay, look, let's all gang up and try and intimidate this person because we don't like what they're doing. It's ridiculous. So now we come to the Ray Fisher and the Jody's Corner Ray Fisher fiasco. And in fact, you know what? Let me just let me edit this tag a little bit. Give me a second, guys. Okay, let me just put the right tag on there. Okay. All right. So I saw this thing where there's this dispute about what Jody said. You know, like, did he say yay Fisher or gay Fisher? I mean, I looked at this thing, and to be honest, what I saw, Danny Valdez, look, let me just get this preface up. So when I watched this thing, I said, the first time it was definitely yay. So the first time he said yay Fisher, that's guaranteed. The second time it could have sounded like gay Fisher, but it depends on how you're pronouncing it. And, you know, you can't really be sure. And you can't really be sure of what he was saying. Like, so just on auditory, just from hearing, I can't be certain that it was either or for the other times he was talking. Like, yeah, you could say it's gay Fisher, but I'm like, if I say gay Fisher, yay Fisher, it starts sounding like it. Depends on how you're pronouncing it and how you're listening to it, you know? So then it comes to the context. And if you listen to the stream and the stuff he's been talking about in general about Kanye West, Ye, for those who do not know his nickname, it then follows that he would then use Ye as for the, you know, as a play on Ray Fisher. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense. It actually makes more sense than he would suddenly, out of left field, just call him gay Fisher. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that is the first point that I would make on that. That's the first point that I would make on that. Like, it makes more sense in context. Now, however, and this is the thing, if he did say gay Fisher, you shouldn't be doing that, you know, obviously. Like, I mean, that whole thing of like using gay as like an insult, you know, when you think about just the history of that whole thing, it's not obviously an ideal situation to be at this point in our history, you know. However, that being said, why is that a cancel thing? You see, that's what makes me laugh. It's like, so instead of you having a conversation about the fact that, hey man, you know, you shouldn't be saying things like that, have a conversation about it and like try and correct a situation. If it's true that he said it, the guy is not like, why would he even just be lying? Like, you know, what's the point? If he said it, he would say, I said it, and he would either apologize or stand on it. It would be one of the two because it's on video. If the guy said that's not what he said, you misheard me, then you just accept you misheard him. Why is he going to try and trick you? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't. So when I see that, it makes me really confused. Well, not confused because I understand, because it's cancel culture. It's like people need him to have said it. Sorry, I'm looking at comments, guys. People need him to have said it. Because there are those who are like, we need something on this guy because we don't like the opinions he puts out. That's what it's about. Because I'm just like thinking, like, if you thought he said something, the guy said he didn't say it. You say you think he said it. It's on video, so it's not like a hidden tape thing. He said, I know you misheard me. That's not what I was talking about. And if you look at my thing, I've been talking about Kanye West, and I said, yeah, Fisher. Okay, maybe the audio sounded like it, and it's my pronunciation that messed you up. That's what I said. Everybody moves on. And listen, when I saw the actual actor, I think Ray Fisher actually post a thing about this and saying thanks to the guy who, I'm like, dude, man, do you know the guy who's actually even putting this out about Jody's Corner? He has issues with Jody's Corner because of the Snides cut. So he already has a bone to pick with this guy. So he saw this thing and he wants to blow it make it a big deal and turn it into like this guy's homophobic or something. You know what I'm saying? And then you're jumping on that because you're sensitive about it. Just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, what? First of all, in the first place, mates, you've just put out like this whole big thing about Joss Whedon. Like, you should be focusing on that. Obviously, look, maybe the thing didn't catch fire. It didn't, because, you know, the guy didn't get canceled. People didn't pile on him because of it. Maybe you should focus more on that than attacking like a YouTuber and posting a whole thing on YouTube without checking your facts on it. You just saw a guy say that, and you're posting, oh, you know, homophobic tones. I'm like, come on, man. Like, that is, listen, I do not know where that sensitivity comes from. And I feel like you should have taken like 24 hours to like just be like, guys, did this person really say that? I'm like, what's the history of this person? What's going on? Look, Danny, and I'm seeing what you're saying here. I'm like, I don't know if you're talking about Jody. Jody's a great guy. He's a great guy, co-signed by the Merc. Quote me on that. Great top guy. I defend Jody too forever. This is a great guy, a real true fan from the talkback cloth. Okay? This guy is for real. He's not messing around. He's a real fan who has opinions. And all these people are saying this stuff about him. Can you imagine what would have been said about the Merc and Have Hope if we were around now? Think about the kind of stuff we were saying what was it, 15, 12 years ago. Think about the kind of things we were saying about everybody. We would have been double cancelled. We would have been erased from existence if Merc and Have Hope were starting talk back now. Say we were letting off both barrels every video on everybody. Nobody was safe. We were letting off both barrels on everybody. So when I look at this, I'm like, how am I not going to look at a guy who's bringing the ethos and the heat that talkback used to bring? And people are attacking him for bringing the heat, and then you're supposed to just call it, oh, he's a bozo. No. That's not how it works. Guys should be able to say what they think and say what they believe. The guy doesn't support the Snyder's cut. It's his prerogative. He's allowed not to. It's not by force. What the hell is going on here? And that's the thing that's so messed up about this whole situation. Let me see if I can even turn this. Oh, wow, I can. Wow, that's cool. No, I actually prefer it like this. That's the thing that's actually really weird about the situation. Is that listen, if I could talk to Jody, which I'll try and reach out to this guy. I'm like, why are you even engaging in this conversation? Let these guys just say what they want to say. In fact, it is fantastic publicity. Absolutely fantastic publicity for your channel. I would lean into it if I was him. I'd play the game. I'd tweet back to Ray. I'd say things. Like I said, this guy is giving you more attention for free that you weren't even trying to get. You were just having your little video. Some guy who doesn't like you now decides that, oh, what did he say? And I watched the video of the guy talking about him, and you could see the glee in his face of like, oh, yes, I got him. I'm like, come on, man. Like, is that what we're playing at now? And actually, look, I also have something else to say. Danny and everything. Look, I saw what happened last time with Hollywood rape, Hollywood God, so on and so forth. I know you don't like him, but talkback is in a place that I cannot allow talkback guys to be insulting each other like that. That's not for this channel. We don't do that. This doesn't work for me. Okay? If you want to personally attack guys, then you've got to take that off talkback. Like, go and attack them personally. Listen, I'll watch a fight, but not in my playground. I'll be entertained for a fight. I'm the kind of guy, like when I was in school, if two guys have had issues and they start fighting, I tell my friends, I leave them, let them fight. It's good to get that out of your system, but not in my playground. Because Hollywood Rape was rightly annoyed and angry about the stuff that was getting said about him in the chat, and I didn't actually even remove him from the feed for that reason. I actually removed him from the feed for other reasons, yeah, man, attack him, like you can go at him personally, like find this thing, go and attack him. But my issue is not on talk back. That's it. Go and attack. Like, I'm not that sort of guy. Oh, people shouldn't fight. And I'm like, listen, if you have an issue with another man, two men are having problems, you sort that out, problems. If you can physically fight and it's all, do that, like if it's agreed, like, look, let's just get to the fists, throw a few hands here and there and sort it out. It's so much better than dragging things on for months. Just fight and get it over with. That's my philosophy. Or say what you've got to say and then stop talking. not all these little things. Just say what you got to say and move, keep it pushing. That's all. That's to say that, you know. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that. Because like the guy was talking, you know, he's saying some things. He posted a video that he did, then deleted. I was talking on this talk, and I said, "Listen, man, the Merc is too old. I'm an old man. I haven't got time for that. You know, Half Hope is younger than me, so like you can go and talk to Half Hope. Maybe he's got more time. I haven't got time for that. I'm too old. There are talkbackers here that could be my kids. So I haven't got time for that. Anyway, yeah, so this thing, I really feel that Jody should just ignore it. He should ignore it. Should have just ignore it. You know, it shouldn't be something. It shouldn't be something that he should get involved with. You know, I think it's something that he should detach himself from. He should really put himself in on a higher level than this sort of nonsense. Because you see, the thing is that, and I don't know if Jody's even going to see this, but the tactic with things like this is to drag you into a dogfight so that they can then create the narrative that you are a homophobe. That's what they try. That's the whole point of dragging you into this, so that they can say, once you start engaging in it, then it's like, okay, now we've got it. And we're now having a conversation as to whether or not you are or not. You're not. I've watched your shows. You know, like yes, you crack gay jokes. Like people crack black jokes. And people crack all kinds of jokes. Like people crack a lot of kinds of jokes. But that doesn't equate to you actually being a big bigoted in that way. You know? So quite honestly, I mean, I think that, let's see what's going on in my feed. I think that people should really take a chill pill. And I think it's, honestly, the actor involved, I do not know who this Ray Fisher guy is. I just know he was Cyborg. I don't know him outside of Justice League. It was a very unfortunate picture. You know, his character was, you know, so in my view, I really think that the guy should be focused more on like his film stuff and not engaging with this sort of thing, and focus on the career, man. You know, like, why are you even engaging in all this sort of hoo-ha-ha tomfoolery on YouTube? Like, somebody you should just look at that video and be like, ha ha ha, hoo, he, ho ho, ya, ooh, and keep it moving. Don't get engaged with that. You know? That being said, man, this night's fans are funny to me. Fans are actually funny. You guys are excited about a cut of a film that is based on extremely weak foundations anyway. I'm like, even if you saw the most amazing cut, what's the point? It's not like it's going to even continue. You know what I'm like? It just doesn't mean anything. The only thing I support is that I do not like the fact that this guy was directing a movie and they didn't let him do his movie. That is the only reason why I support this thing. Personally, I'm like, the guy was making a film. You hired a guy to make a movie. He had a vision for that movie, and then you messed him around and you didn't even let him do it. And then you got another director to come and use his footage and then put new footage of the. That is very disrespectful, very wrong. And that is the reason the only reason I support this thing. That I'm like, Snides, regardless of what I think of the stuff he's made before, deserves, having gotten the job, to finish the job that he started. And I've always said this is a very passionate movie guy, very passionate comic book guy. I might not like the films that he makes, but he cares. He actually does care. Like, this is not somebody who doesn't care. And he also seems like a very nice person, you know, because you see a lot of directors with fans, the way they relate to fans and their interviews and things, and you get like that feeling of aloofness from some of them. He doesn't appear to be that sort of person at all. And that's I actually appreciate that. I appreciate that, you know, for a director to actually want to interact with fans directly, to communicate with them, to have a generally nice attitude is a very positive thing. And that's the reason why I've always tempered my criticism of Snipes is irrespective of the movies that he's made that I really didn't like. I didn't like any of them. But I always temper it because I'm like, listen, it's okay for somebody to be doing things that are not to your taste. That's fine. My confusion more was like, I don't understand. Why do you keep getting all these big franchises and big pit movies when the ones that you're making aren't actually that much of a hit? Like Chris Nolan made Batman Begins. That thing was a smacker of a success. Like it was such a success that you completely understand why you would get the next thing and you do. You know what I'm saying? The Russo brothers came and did Winter Soldier. That thing was, in my opinion, it's one of the best Marvel movies that there has been is Winter Soldier. After Winter Soldier, I'm like, you'd be crazy not to give these guys another project. Like this is, you see what I'm saying? So my thing is that I just didn't understand is like, listen, this guy, you made Watchmen that, okay, so some people, but it wasn't like this big roaring success. So how do you then get projects after I don't understand that personally. It doesn't make sense to me. And it was very frustrating because I felt like, listen, if you proliferated these projects around different visions, i.e., different filmmakers, you never know what you might get. You might just end up with some filmmaker coming in and doing an incredible job with one of these things from a guy that you just wouldn't have necessarily expected would do such a good job with it. Like Richard Donner coming off Omen and whatever to go and do Superman. You wouldn't have thought he would do such a great job with doing Superman, the movie. Though Omen was very good. I mean, look, you know what? Richard Donner is a bad example because he's made some very, very good films. You know, like really, that guy's a very good filmmaker, man. Like, you know, I mean, the same guy did Omen, Superman 1, and The Goonies. That's a very, very good filmmaker. I mean, you know, Richard. So it's difficult for me to look at that and be like, use him as an example because the guy makes excellent movies. You know, so yeah, okay, so let's take him out of the equation. Yeah, guys, that's all I've got to say on this. I feel like, you know, we've got to really take it, we've got to really chill and you know, be realistic, and people should be allowed to not like what they don't want to like. Going forward, I think I'll be doing all my broadcasts with my iPad here because my laptop is on the blink, and because of quarantine, based on the country I happen to be in, at this present time, it's very difficult for me to get things repaired because I'm not in my regular locale. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Bay out, Spielberg here.